Hello everyone. The story I'm going to share today is a kind act saved two lives. This story happened in the year of Guangxu during the Qing dynasty. Mr. Jia worked in a foreign firm in Shanghai. He was very loyal and his boss greatly trusted him. Before the Dragon Boat Festival in May, his boss sent him to the southern cities to collect the debts owed to the firm. He soon left carrying a bag with him. The process of debt collecting went very smoothly, and it was nearly noon. He had collected more than 1,800 pieces of silver. Because he talked continuously as he went to the various debtors, his mouth became dry and was tired. Just then he passed a tea house. He thought that it might be good to drink some tea and relax a bit before returning to his firm. However, as soon as Mr. Zhao walked into the office, he noticed that he was no longer carrying a bag, which contained all the silver. Like a thunderbolt, a wave of shock and fear ran through his body. He broke out in cold sweat. He was so confused that he could not explain what happened. His boss thought that he was trying to cheat him. He began to scold Mr. Jia sternly and said, "I trusted you so much. You've really disappointed me. If you cannot get money back today, I will take you to court." More than 1,800 pieces of silver was a large amount of money, and more than one person could spend in his entire lifetime. If he could not find back money, how would Mr. Jia ever be able to pay back such a huge sum? At that moment, he thought his life was over, and he cried out loudly. He wished that he could just disappear. Another man, Mr. Yi, also worked for a foreign firm. But because Mr. Yi's luck was bad, he always lost his money. He had purchased a boat ticket to go home that day. Because it was too early for him to get on the boat, he went to the same tea house that Mr. Jia had stopped at. Mr. Yi wanted to rest, but he also wanted to think about what to do with his future. Just as Mr. Jia walked out of the tea house, Mr. Yi came in and sat down next to the seat that Mr. Jia had been sitting in. When Mr. Yi sat down, he noticed a paper bag on the chair next to him. He ignored it at first and just drank his tea. He sat and drank tea for a long time, but no one came to get back. Mr. Yi started to wonder what was in it. When he lifted the bag, it felt pretty heavy. Finally, he opened it. To his great surprise, it was filled with shiny silver coins. Overcome with surprise and happiness, he thought that this was like a cup of water dropping from the sky to a man dying of thirst. He thought, "Oh my goodness, such a large amount of money. It will change my fate. I won't have to work for the rest of my life. I won't have any more cares or worries." But then he immediately thought, "No, this money does not belong to me. I cannot take it. If I take this money, the person who lost it might be in trouble. He might even lose his life. I would be a big sin." In ancient China, everyone knew that it was wrong to take something that did not belong to them. Mr. Yi thought, "Since I'm the one who found this bag of money, it's my responsibility to return it to the owner." It was nearly lunchtime, and there were only 9 people left in the tea house. Mr. Yi looked around, but no one looked like they were looking for something they had lost. Even though he was hungry, he continued waiting there with an empty stomach. He waited for hours until it was dark outside. All the guests in the tea house had gone home. Only Mr. Yi was left. waiting and watching the people hurrying home outside. Suddenly, a man followed by two others rushed into the tea house. It was Mr. Jia, pale-faced and sweat profusely. As soon as he entered, he pointed to a chair next to Mr. Yi and said, "I sat there. I must have left my bag there." And then the three men walked directly to Mr. Yi. Mr. Yi realized that Mr. Jia must be the person who lost the bag of silver. He smiled and said, "Did you leave your money bag?" Mr. Jia nodded his head. Mr. Yi said, "I have waited for you for a long time." He took out a bag of money. Trembling, Mr. Jia thanked him. He knelt down in front of Mr. Yi and said, "You have saved my life." Mr. Jia explained that when he discovered that he lost money, he wanted to retrace his steps and find it. Although he felt it was hopeless, he did not know what else to do. His boss was afraid that Mr. Jia would run away, so he did not want him to leave. Mr. Jia had to talk to the boss for a long time and convinced him. Finally, the boss told the two people followed him. If he did not find the money, they would bring him back to the firm. Mr. Jia and Mr. Yi had a friendly chat. Mr. Jia wanted to thank Mr. Yi by giving him 1/5 of the silver. Mr. Yi refused. Mr. Jia asked him to take 1/10, but again he refused. Then Mr. Jia offered him 1%, but Mr. Yi refused. Mr. Jia did not know how to thank him and said, "Please come to breakfast tomorrow morning. It will set my heart at ease." Then they separated. The next morning, Mr. Yi entered the restaurant. Just as Mr. Jia was just about to thank him again, Mr. Yi stopped him and said, "It is I who should thank you. If I had not waited for you the entire afternoon at tea house, I might have died." Mr. Jia was confused. So Mr. Yi explained, "I bought a boat ticket to go home yesterday. However, because I waited for you at the tea house, I missed the time to get on the boat. When I finally returned home last night, I heard the boat I was supposed to get on was overturned in a raging storm. All 23 people on the boat died. If I had gotten on the boat, I would have died. It's you who saved my life." As he said this, he bowed to Mr. Jia. As the two men thanked each other, the other guests in the restaurant all showed their approval by raising the cups in the toast to honor their nobility. They all sighed to Mr. Yi's high morals and honorable behavior saved two lives. Mr. Jia and the other two men returned to the firm and told boss what happened. The boss was surprised and said, "Such a good person is hard to find." He said that he very much wanted to meet Mr. Yi. They soon met and became very good friends. Later, the boss gave Mr. Yi a position as accountant, which was paid a high salary. Several months later, the boss had his daughter married Mr. Yi. Years later, Mr. Yi became the boss and ran the firm. The story of how a poor man changed his fate because his kind heart was widely told. Everyone who heard the story praised his upright morals and nobility. More and more people came to do business with Mr. Yi, and his business flourished. Finally, he owned several hundred acres of land and was the wealthiest person in his city. Thank you very much for listening to the story. More touching stories will be ready for you if you just subscribe it. Thank you again.